Hi everyone, welcome back to Zesty Thoughts with your host Anabla. Welcome to episode 72. I hope that everyone has had a wonderful week. Damn y'all, January is almost over. I cannot believe how quickly this month has gone by. I've had such a crazy start to 2026 in like the best way possible. So I have a bunch of random shit to gab about today. I have some Grammy predictions, okay? Because the Grammys are literally, if you're listening to this, obviously Friday, they're tomorrow. If you're listening to this on Saturday, they're today, girl. So Paramount Plus, get at it. But yeah, and then I have some like kind of album reviews, and just some thirsts and little updates. So strap on in, y'all. I have a new addition to the pod set and I'm beginning to run out of room, right? So my bestie Rocky got me this little like cherub. I'm gonna give you a little close up because it's so freaking cute. Oh my god, hi, that's so cute. So this is one of those like surprise trinket like packs where like it shows on the box like the options and then you just buy it blind, not knowing what you're gonna get. And it got a little butterfly. It's so cute and like quaint, and I just love the little like there's like a little apron. I don't know, it's so cute. I'm literally obsessed with it. So she's just gonna live right over here next to my tarot cards and my little frog fam and my album art. She's so cute. All right into the first segment of today's pod. My thirst of the week is going to be Lake Shrine Meditation Gardens. For those of you that are from LA, you've probably heard of Lake Shrine. It is a self-realization like meditation garden center. There's a lake, there's like beautiful spots for meditation and nature. There's an amazing little like windmill chapel. Great space to meditate on some of the world's leading spiritual figures. And it's great. It's non-denominational. So all, religions or, non-religious people are welcome. It's just a great nature space off of Sunset by the beach. For those of you that don't know, Sunset goes all the way to the beach. So it's like right where Sunset meets PCH. And it's just a beautiful space. It brings me a lot of peace, and I don't go as often as I would like, but when I do, I really, really appreciate my time there, and it's just an amazing way to start like your day. I went on Sunday with some family, and it was just like so peaceful, and I meditated a little bit, and it was just great. So I love this space. I would highly recommend if you're in LA, and you haven't already been, check it out. I think you'll really like it. There are also like services. I don't know, check out the website. I'll link it in the description of today's pod episode. But yeah, anyway, I love Lake Shrine. If you know, you know. So if you're ever, if you're from LA and you've never been, like, girl, go. And if you're ever in LA and you want something that's like spiritual to do, I would highly recommend it. Another kind of thirst of the week would be the hike that I went on Saturday. Oh, okay, so I went on a hike, and pre-fire, like Palisade Fire, I would frequent Los Leones Trail. This trail is really nice. There's a beautiful like park area, bathrooms and all that. It's a really popular spot in LA. It's also off of PCH, and it's really poppin', and there's like one kind of area that you can like hang out, like picnic and stuff before the actual trail starts. And this hike is like really cool. There are some parts of it that are like a little sketch because like the path is pretty narrow in some spots, and it's like off of like a cliff, not a cliff, but it's just like open on the side. It's like a ravine, kind of like a little small valley in between the mountains or whatever. And so it's like a little bit sketch, like a tiny bit, but like you just gotta be paying attention. You gotta be locked in. Hiking boots like are required. Like don't be wearing like regular sneakers on hikes. I used to just like raw dog it and wear just like sneakers. And that's like crazy. I can't believe I would do that. No wonder I was like scared when I was hiking, because like my shoes were just not meant for terrain like that, right? But then I locked in and I got some hiking boots, like Columbia hiking boots for like my birthday a few years ago, and hiking has been like actually so much more, not gonna lie, it's been so much more like relaxing having those, because there's more ankle support and there's just better tread on them, so I feel like more confident on different surfaces. Like I'm not gonna fall. I feel like kind of nervous when I'm going uphill when I'm hiking. So specifically in that context, when I'm going uphill, I feel more confident now, which is great. But yeah, so I went to this new trail because after the fire, I'm like, is it like safe to like, I don't know, are there like toxins? Who knows, right? But that's something that I like kind of have in the back of my mind, and so it deterred me from going to that trail. I went to the Getty View Trail. I think that's what it was called on All Trails. It's off of the 405 near like Sunset, just past Sunset. I forget what exit, but I'll link it, and I'll link the All Trails in the description. And yeah, it's opposite of the Getty, so it's like east. It's on the opposite side of the 405 that the Getty is on, and yeah, it's like kind of in a weird like secluded kind of area. It's like the end of like it's like a dead end in like a residential like neighborhood. But it is like open to the public, and you can just like park on the street in that area. And yeah, dude, it was a really nice hike. It was maybe 500 feet of elevation gain, so it wasn't anything crazy, but it like got me breathing, right? Pretty much the whole way up, and the peak, like the end of the trail, there's an amazing view, but like I almost missed it. Essentially, when you go all the way to the end of the trail, that's marked on All Trails, there's like a gate and like all these like signs and like security cameras, because it's like someone's property in like Beverly Glen or something. And so you get to that point and you're like, okay, this is like a dead end, right? And the map on All Trails, like that's the end. It doesn't show you this little like U-turn action that's going on. So I was like, oh, is this it? Like I thought I saw someone say in the comments that there was like a 360 view, and there were maybe a few spots where there was like almost a 360 view, but not quite. So I was kind of like waiting for that. There were some little hills that like you could tell mountain bikers had frequented. They had like kind of tiny like paths, but they were pretty steep and I didn't want to climb up them. So I was like, I don't know, is that where I'm supposed to go, right? And so anyway, once I got to that like gate at the end, I did like a little U-turn, and I noticed a small hill. It was nothing crazy. It was like a little steep, but not bad at all. And I got to the top of that, and it was like kind of hidden. So I was like, period, I found it. And the view was beautiful, y'all. I kind of wish it was like a prettier day out. There's a little like dew or haze or like smog action kind of going on, maybe a little marine layer. So pics weren't the best, but I definitely want to go back up there, maybe like bring my camera and like take pics, because it was really pretty. And yeah, good vibes. It was like 1 hour out and back. Anyway, so I'll recommend it. I'll link the All Trails for that trail if you're based in LA and you're gonna go on like a new hike. So I highly recommend it. There are no bathrooms though, so just like beware, prepare. All right, before I go headfirst into my Grammy predictions for the year, I do want to do a like brief album review for 2 albums. Okay, so I finally listened to Uchis's most recent album. Honestly, anytime I listen to Uchis, it's such an extreme hit or miss for me. I don't know if I'm just like not as much of a fan of like the alternative style that she has. It's kind of like, at least this album is like kind of giving shoegaze, and not that I'm like opposed to that. It's just not what I like listen to all the time, and so I'm kind of pickier with it, right? She's had projects that are like more straight up R&B, and I like tend to prefer those projects of hers. So that's like my point of view, like where I'm coming from. But the most recent album, Sincerely PS, the first like few songs, I was kind of like, okay, not for me. I liked For You. I saved that. That's track 5, okay. And then there were like a few more tracks that I was like, okay, right. And then the last like few, I feel like I enjoyed a lot more. I saved Breeze. I saved I Love You So Much It Hurts. I did like the track with Raven Lene and Marie the Scientists, but I didn't save them. So I don't know. I only saved 3 tracks, but if you're like a fan of like kind of Lana Del Rey-esque, shoegaze-esque, like alternative pop, there's some really cute like love songs, and like sonically it's great. I just didn't like it, just didn't hit 100% for me, but I would recommend it for people that are either like a super fan of hers, because she has like diehard fans, or if you just like those subgenres in general. I think you're gonna eat this shit up. But I did really like those 3 songs. Like I've been listening to those 3 songs like a lot this week. So the ones that I did save, like I have on repeat, no lie. So I did want to shout them out at the very least. Next up, I listened to Taylor Swift's album. Okay. For those of you listening, I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift fan. I'm not like anti Taylor Swift, I think. Right off the bat, essentially right off the bat, when I saw this album art, I was like, the album art to me is just giving what the music gives. Okay. I'm going to elaborate on that. I listened to this. I did not save any of the songs, and I'm going to explain why. So I'm not like anti Taylor Swift, like I said before. I really like all of her like first releases, like her early releases that were like country pop. I like love that, okay? But I also just feel like there are so many of her songs that are like so overplayed that I just can't. It's like pop songs that get overplayed. It's like you hear them when they're popular and then you like never want to hear them again the rest of your life. So I feel like a lot of her music has been like that for me. Pretty much everything since Red, which is like 2012, just crazy because I loved like Fearless and her, you know, uh what is it, like her debut self-titled project, Taylor Swift. I loved those, okay? Folklore did something to me. I was kind of a fan of that. Kind of, right? But Midnights had, I see why people are a fan of Midnights. Like I said, I don't like have any of these songs saved. But I can appreciate them. I really think my single biggest like gripe, or my biggest like criticism, I think like the biggest thing holding me back from saving and like frequently listening to her music more often are the lyrics, okay? For example, Eldest Daughter, the melody is actually insane. The chorus is just so good. It's just like period, like that's an earworm, okay? But the lyrics just like really, in my humble opinion, like really get in the way of it. I can't take them seriously. There's this like unironic, like, I don't know if it's just because like I think Taylor Swift and I just think like millennial cringe, that like I have a hard time taking her songs seriously. I often wonder if because of that like small instinctive judgment that I have on her, like if it were sung by anybody else, I would like take it more seriously, right? I just wonder if sometimes it's like the messenger and not the message, right? Which I think is fair. I'm like fully admitting that now. I don't know what it is, right? But like Eldest Daughter is amazing, okay? The lyrics just like don't sit right. I just can't relate to them. They're childish. They're kind of like, I don't know. They just don't appeal to my taste. But I also just feel like there's not enough like uniqueness about them that my interest is piqued at all, if that makes any sense. Like, just the lyric, but I'm not a bad bitch. I'm like, and the way that it's sung, to me, it just doesn't like check out, and it doesn't hit, and it just doesn't like ring in the way that they're trying to get it to. But I'm not a bad bitch, and this isn't savage. Like, if there were other words there, but I'm never gonna let you down and I'm never gonna leave you out. Even so many traders and smooth operators, like solid lyrics, but like I don't know. I guess I am like passing kind of this judgment because I have this like preconceived notion of Taylor Swift being kind of like cringe. And I think she's self-aware of that and she like plays to that, and that's okay. But yeah, I don't know. Like the melody in this is ridiculous. And like I have a student that wanted to work on it, and I had listened to the album prior, but this song, like I kind of just listened to it once and I was just like, okay, whatever. Like none of this is for me, right? I had appreciation for some of the melodies, but none of the lyrics I was able to take seriously or relate to, so I didn't listen again, okay? As soon as my student was like, yeah, I want to do this song, and I listened through, I was like, do I smell Max Martin in this song? Do I smell Sir Max? Okay. And I freaking clocked it, dude. I was talking to my student and I was like, oh my God, like the melody in the chorus is beautiful. Like this is a great melody. The melody will get stuck in my head. The words are going to like annoy me, but the melody is great. And I told her, I was like, I'm going to check who wrote on this, because to me, it's like giving Max Martin. It's giving formula, right? It's giving the Swedish formula. And so I looked it up and I was like, girl, I'm telling you. She's like, who's Max Martin? And I was like, right, he's literally written like everything ever. So basically it has that Max Martin touch, which I cannot deny, brings everything like automatically up a notch. But the lyrics unfortunately still get in the way of me ever saving anything that she releases, like the vast majority of stuff. I'll be so honest. I think that just is up to taste, you know what I mean? I don't know, it's like an author. It's like reading. There are certain authors that I'm like, really? Like I don't like, this isn't new to me. I've heard this style or I've heard this syntax before, and I feel like that when I listen to Taylor Swift. It's pop music that I feel like it's like not breaking any barriers lyrically, as opposed to an artist like Sabrina Carpenter that's like it's ruffling a lot of tail feathers and really is risque and taking risks lyrically that are new and fresh. I just feel like a lot of this sounds like it could have been written 10 years ago lyrically, right? Sonically, I think there's a lot of strong stuff, but I don't know. That's kind of where I sit. There's probably a lot of things that like I'm trying to like explain in like the most civil, cordial way possible that are maybe not coming across in the best way, but I'm trying my best here. I'm just like not a Taylor Swift fan, so I'm trying to be like nice about it, if that makes sense. I kind of want her to put out music that I would like actually like to listen to. I've kind of always wanted that. Like her first projects, I feel like are really just so good. But also like in the context of when they were released, I was young. So maybe that's why I liked them, because I could relate to them because I was a kid, you know? And maybe she's forever gonna make music like that. And because I'm not a kid anymore, I'll never be a fan of it. I don't know. I would like to talk to people that are like adults that are like genuine Taylor Swift fans. I would like to talk to them about like what the appeal is, because like I just don't see it. But it's also like everybody has a different perspective on the type of music they consume, the type of music they frequently listen to, and like the seriousness with which they consume music, right? Because some people just listen to music like for fun, for entertainment. And then some people listen to music to like feel like to relate to something that they are going through. Like they try to find connection. And then some people, which I feel like I'm kind of mixed between that category and the third category, which would be like I listen to music for something new, something novelty, something that catches my attention that I've never heard before, because I've listened to so much music and because I'm always listening to music. Something has to be never said in that way before, or never explained or never phrased in that way, especially because I'm a lyricist and that's like the standard I hold myself to. If I wanted to say, but I'm not a bad bitch and this isn't savage, I would never say it in that way, because those are like memes. Those are like pop culture, like social phrases that people already use. Like, I would figure out a different way to say it, that no one's like, and no one's ever phrased it that way before, if that makes any sense. So I get a little disappointed when new music I hear that's coming out right now doesn't do that. I'm like, that's almost like lazy to me. I don't know. Maybe not lazy, but it's just like, I get there's like a market for everything, and it's really easy to just regurgitate like simple phrases and make pop music that sounds catchy, that is easily digestible to people that are like not lyricists, not musicians, not, you don't have high education or whatever, haven't read a lot of poetry, haven't listened to a lot of music. Like, there's an audience for every type of music. So like I said, I'm trying to be respectful in my criticism and in my like review, like genuine review. And I feel like a lot of times when people talk about artists that they don't like, they don't really like explain this deeply. And so I feel like out of respect, I owe that to people listening. So I think maybe that's really what it is like, you could have maybe sat in the writing room for 10 to 15 more minutes and said that in a better way, that was like more clever or more unique or more, or just in a way that's never been said before. And that to me is so much more intriguing as a listener. But it's also like, maybe you're not trying to make music for people that actually want to think when they listen to music. Right. Right, I clocked that, right? Because some people don't want to think when they listen to music. Some people just want to listen to music. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just obsessed with like overanalyzing and like thinking too much about music, right? But it's like because of my perspective. I'm an artist, I'm a songwriter, I'm a musician, I'm a music lover, and so I get kind of bored. I'm like, give me something new, if that makes any sense. So I will give that song credit. Eldest Daughter, I will give that song credit. And Almost Romantic, I'll give those songs credit for their catchiness. But the lyrics to me are like, they could have been a little more unique, if that makes any sense. Anywho, but that's just my point of view and like how I critique music. So if you don't critique music in that way and you don't care if lyrics are corny or not, then you might not care. Okay, now we're getting straight into Grammy predictions, y'all. Okay, I guess it's probably good that I did some album reviews prior to this so that you can have an accurate perspective on where I typically come from as a music listener, and where like my judgments lie and like why maybe I make these judgments. Okay, so I'm gonna predict a handful: record of the year, song of the year, album of the year, best new artist, and best R&B performance. Okay, obviously best R&B performance is going to Kehlani. Folded, girl. I think it like would make sense if anything else won. Like, that's the song of the year, period. Okay, so Folded for best R&B performance, because like, duh, I don't even have to explain myself there, right? Okay, record of the year. So for those of you that aren't aware, record and song of the year are like the same but not the same. So song is like the lyrics and the melody. It's like if you did it like with just a guitar and singing, or like piano and singing, what we would be able to do. Whereas like the record of the year is like more encompassing the production and like what is happening instrumentally combined with the song, right? because those are two separate copyrights. They have two separate Grammys for that. So there are 7 nominations actually this year that are overlapped. So my choice, this is actually a really hard choice for me because straight off the bat, my album of the year prediction is Bad Bunny. I think no one else even comes close to deserving that award. I did enjoy Swag and I really enjoyed GNX, but I think like all in all, message, sonically, like I just think it's gonna take the dub. I really hope. And I'll be like genuinely disappointed if it doesn't. Although I do appreciate like where Justin went with Swag, and I could see why people could be like, this should be an award-winning album because it really pushed a lot of sonic boundaries. The production is like really unique and like, I don't know, it just like it does catch your attention in the greatest way, and songs are pretty good, but yeah, maybe I'm just more impressed with the sonic quality on that. GNX is great, but I just think it doesn't even compare like track by track. If you really deep dive and like analyze every single song, I don't see how you couldn't pick Bad Bunny's project for sure. If you have not listened to Bad Bunny's album by now, like what are you doing? First of all, second of all, like I would recommend first going to listen to his Tiny Desk concert. He does all songs from this project, and there's a little commentary that will give you maybe a better perspective on who he is as an artist, why he is writing about this like content, like why he's writing about the subjects he's writing about, and like where he's coming from. And it gives a lot of cultural context that I think is kind of important for the album. Now going into listening to this album, like my best friend's family's Puerto Rican, so like I have a little bit of a different perspective going into it. Maybe I'm like also a little bit biased. As you can see, I have the coquille up here and like the flag, but I don't know, dude, like just knowing the history of Puerto Rico and like having followed Bad Bunny for a while, for years now, like it's just such an amazing like amalgamation of authentic like cultural appreciation and like the trap and like hip hop that Bad Bunny that he really is. That's like really truly him as an artist. And I feel like he could not have done a better job of blending the two. It's so natural. It just like makes perfect sense. And half of the songs on that album are in my Goosebumps playlist. They literally just like, they just get me so hyped. They have so much aura. And then lyrically, the songs are so like significant and meaningful. So, okay, I went on a total rant about the album, but like I just wanted to explain my reasoning behind that. For all of those reasons, it made it really hard for me to pick record and song of the year because the title track off of Bad Bunny's album, DTMF, is nominated for song and record of the year. So it's like, wait. I think it's hard for me to not consider that song of all of them up there. All in all, it just made it harder for me to make this decision, but I believe a record of the year, it's a really hard choice. I put Bad Bunny's DTMF, but I do think that Luther has a really good shot at this. That song was just so astronomically big. I listened to it a lot. I never got tired of that song. I'm still not tired of that song. But at the same time, I'm like still not tired of Bad Bunny's project. So it's kind of hard. But yeah, I genuinely think it's really hard for me to make that decision because both Luther and DTMF I've been listening to since they came out, and I'm not tired of either of the songs. Sonically, both of them are great. I do think I have a little bit more of an appreciation for the Bad Bunny track because of like the kind of chorus, like call and response aspect of the record. I was listening to New York Times podcast literally today, and they were talking about the same kind of thing, Grammy predictions, and they made a really good point that like that call and response, that like group chanting of the hook gets the listener involved. And so it's like this 3D interactive kind of experience. And it's tricky because I feel like in Luther, the hook is so catchy that everyone just like can't help but sing along. So it's hard. They both give you the same sense of like, I can't help but sing along to this. So to me, it's a really, really hard choice. I think I'm a little biased to Bad Bunny. So, and I really just kind of hope that he'll win it. I think he deserves it. But yeah, so those kind of are tied for me at this point. Song of the Year, on the other hand, I really hope that Bad Bunny's track wins this, the same song, DTMF, but I think my runner-up would be Man Child. I just think that song is so fun and quirky. I personally think it's like one of the most like creatively written pop songs in like a long time. It reminds me of like early 2000s pop that's just like so cheeky, like too cheeky for its own good, but it's like addicting, you know? I think that like Sabrina Carpenter definitely has that trope, but it works. And there's something about it I like because it is unique. It is like just stating the obvious, but like not in an obvious way. And when you listen to songs like that, you can't help but think like, oh my God, I wish I had written this song. It's like one of those songs that you wish you had written, right? I do feel like that about pretty much all of Bad Bunny's project. Again, like I said, I'm like, oh my God, this is like genius. This is like iconic. It is like sonically the perfect blend of like a lot of eras of Latin music. And I just have a huge affinity for it. Lyrically, I think that song is also really strong and meaningful and just wholesome. So I love the message that it sends. I would hope that that would be a message lyrically that like Grammy voters would resonate with. I think it's a message that all of us should embrace. But I do really like Man Child. I think it's really fun. So I think Bad Bunny deserves this one, but I think close second would be Man Child because I just think it's solid. I think it's genius too. So best new artist. Okay. This is a tricky one. I like Olivia Dean, but I'm not like so obsessed. There's been this like massive wave of like an obsession with her. And I like the song Man I Need, but to me it's not, like I said, I'm just like in this constant thirst for like freshness and something new. And I don't know if it's new enough to really catch my attention in that way and like me be like thirsting over it, right? I appreciate it. She's very talented. She's beautiful. Her voice is fantastic. Like sonically, it's just like butter. But I don't know if like as an artist, she really punches into like the zeitgeist and into like culture in the same way that Addison Rae does. Okay. To preface, when Addison Rae's album came out, I listened to it and I didn't really get it. Like I was like, okay, this is like fun and pop and like, you know, but I had to sit on it. It was one of those projects that I had to come back to. And I put it in my listen to this shit playlist and I listened to it. And usually after I listen to a project, I'll take it out of that playlist. But I purposefully left it in there because I was like, I don't know, maybe it was just the time of the year that I listened to it or like what was going on in my life. I just didn't have the capacity or the desire to absorb that style of music at the time that I listened to it. So I was like, I feel like I'm going to have a different phase or a different season in my life where I'm going to listen to it and I'm going to just have a better appreciation for it. Because it's not like I didn't like it, but I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, period, but like not the vibe right now, girl, essentially, right? I listened to it the second time and I was like, it was like mind blowing. It was so entertaining, so satisfying to me. And I love when someone can do pure pop, like Britney bitch pop, right? I love when someone can do pure pop unapologetically. That's really hard to do, in my opinion. I won't lie, I also just love how like underestimated she is as an artist. I feel like that album came in fucking swinging and no one was prepared for it. No one was ready for that from her. It was like, okay, she's like a TikTok star, right? And I feel like most people look at people that have, had a rise from social media kind of in that same vein. It's like, great, you had like a TikTok hit, sure. Let's hear what you got next. People are like not taking it seriously, but that shit genuinely threw me out of my fucking chair. That shit had me wheezing. So I really, really, really hope that she wins it. So I'm going to say Addison Rae. All right, y'all. And with that, I'm going to wrap up today's episode. Honestly, as long as Kehlani wins, I'm good, to be honest. And as long as Bad Bunny takes home something, girl, I'll be happy. No lie. So anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful week and a fun weekend. Stay safe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.